It is with nothing but unmitigated pleasure that we welcome you to the Thursday night edition of Game On here on News Central. My name is Babatunde Koiki. Thank you for joining us. Of course, it promises to be a very interesting 1 hour of sporting action from across the world. It's been very, very entertaining today. We have, well, basically, let's just say there is daylight. There's a canyon, a chasm between first and second in the Nigeria Professional Football League. We'll be talking about that in just a few minutes as well. The rest of Africa is getting ready for the ITTF Africa Cup in Tunis as well. Matches are also going on in the UEFA Europa League and Conference League as well. We also know the knockout opposition in the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup. So much to talk about tonight as well. So we'd like you to stay tuned because we'll be streaming live on X, Instagram, and of course LinkedIn, any of your favorite social media platforms. That's where you can find us. We're also live on channel 422 on DSTV, channel 274 on Star Times. I won't say anything more about GoTV. It'll just, like a thief in the night, it'll just happen. I have three great guys with me. Two of them are here in the studio. Our very own Samuel Eto'o is here with me, alongside Wale Adigun, who is also here as well. And joining us all the way from Los Angeles, California, is Chinasa Ibonye, who always joins us every Thursday. Guys, thank you so much for coming through tonight on Game On. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. But let's start let's start the conversation this way. A lot has been going on over the last 24 to 48 hours regarding Ademola Lookman's penalty miss in the UEFA Champions League, and so much has been going on, so much heat being generated. Should he have been made a scapegoat? Should Gasperini have said what he did? Wale Adigun, you've actually made plenty of enemies and new friends, do I say, on social media as well, X, because of your take. But I haven't heard from you. I just want to hear what is your take on that? Was Ademola Lookman in the right? We're knowing everything that we know now.
All right, good evening, everyone. I think that my first take on the issue was on the spot when it happened on the night in Bergamo at the Jewish Arena. And the situation we thought was that he's broken rank, and taken the penalty, and he's missed it when the two designated guys, Ketelare and Retegi, were there. But I would want to analyze the thought of Gasperini, who I thought was...
very quickly.
Yeah, I think that he could have been much more supportive in the stance he held on Lookman. Lookman is one of his best players. I won't actually say his best player. Lookman won him the Europa League title last season. I think it could have been much more subtle. But I've taken a look at the presser, and I think that...
When you say the presser, you're basically talking about the post-match press conference.
The post-match presser.
Where Gasperini was sitting and made those comments, right?
And true, let me tell you, a lot of Nigerians didn't see it, and context really matters. I think the context in which he said it was a bit sarcastic. But it has been taken out of context. But the next day, with Lookman coming out with a statement saying, hey, Retegi and Ketelare told me to take it, and I had to rise up to the responsibility and take it. I think that... I need to backtrack on my thoughts on the night about the fact that he broke rank. He didn't break rank. He only stood up to the plate. And unfortunately, he didn't score, because I think if he had scored, maybe more momentum would have been for Atalanta. It would have been 5-3, and who knows, Atalanta could have gone on to really make the game a bit more dramatic. So that's just what I make of it.
Okay.
I think Gasperini could have been much more measured in his criticism or his response on the matter.
In your opinion right now, do you think that everything has been blown out of proportion, that Lookman has been unfairly made a scapegoat? Because if he had scored that penalty, they were never going to win in the first place.
Well, anything can happen in football. We see goals scored less than 10 minutes, 3 goals scored. But I think for Gasperini, he did not handle the situation so well. He allowed his emotions get the better part of him. Don't forget, he was looking forward to get something out of that game. But then here is a Lookman who came in second half, got your first goal of the night. Also
after
felt
34 seconds.
After 34 seconds, also felt after that goal he could also propel him to go on all the way to take the penalty. I think when you look at the game, you also notice that the captain got a red card in that game. You also notice that the way the goals came in, there were defensive errors. There were many parts of the game that you can actually throw the blame game.
Exactly.
Instead of singling that, ways you would have communicated the Lookman's going ahead to take the penalty. He could have said, "Oh, Lookman is not the penalty taker. He should have probably left it for and leave it there." I think where Nigerians have come down hard is the way and manner at which the statement came out. For Lookman, yes, he's been a key figure in Atalanta in the last few years. We've seen what he has done. But for Gasperini, we all know that he has also a track record of not handling situations, especially with players. We've seen this is not the first time. So maybe that he has not learned from his mistake or his lessons of the past. But I think for Ademola Lookman, he should just pick up the pieces. It happens. Bukayo Saka lost the penalty at the Euro finals against Italy. We've also seen players. But for me, this is not even a crucial penalty, and I start to be corrected. Some persons have said he could just change the game. What if he went on to score the penalty and the opponent also got another goal in the process? So it's
neither here nor there. But very quickly, I want to hear your thoughts on this, Chinasa. It's been blowing everywhere. And you do recall in the summer, there was talk that Ademola Lookman was on the verge of leaving. He was taken out of the lineup. He wasn't training. But after things like this, and after his statement, where he said a lot had been going on that he hadn't spoken about, this has just really deeply affected him. Is there a possibility that this summer we might see Ademola Lookman leave Atalanta?
Yeah, there's a huge possibility because first of all, let's start with when we say context matters. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. Whatever context, there are things that shouldn't be said. You know, I don't care whether if you're being sarcastic or whatever. There are things that shouldn't be said. If you want to list the hierarchy of reasons why Atalanta lost that game, Lookman's penalty will be very low on that list because first of all, you were outcoached. You considered 3 goals. You there were lots of reasons why you didn't start the Lookman because he was coming back from an injury. He came out, he scored a goal, he got a penalty, he missed it. It's not high on the list of the reasons why they lost that particular game. So for you to basically single that out, you know, say he's the worst penalty taker or whatever, it's even if you're, like I said, if you're being sarcastic, there are some things that like you have to know how to behave better as a professional coach, as a professional manager who manages men, you know, players with lots of egos and all that. So you know, your captain got sent off, lost his head completely. No mention of that. Your defense was atrocious for the 3 goals. No mention of that, but you quickly mentioned Lookman. So, and Lookman's statement has come out to tell us that, has come out to show that, yeah, there's been things brewing underneath. He's been trying to keep it professional. He's been trying to, you know, to act like the professional that he is, and he has not really made a meal out of anything that has happened. But right now, what Gasperini just did, I think he might have just broken the camel's back. Yeah, Lookman, I believe he will do what he needs to do by being a professional. But yeah, I think so there is
a possibility that he might revise his continuous stay in Bergamo with Atalanta come summer. There was talk that he was going to move to Paris Saint-Germain last summer. Didn't happen. Let's see what happens this summer. And he's still, of course, the reigning African Footballer of the Year as well. Still very highly coveted all across Europe. Who knows, maybe the riches of Saudi Arabia might also tempt him as well. But gentlemen, let's dive back into the world of other sports apart from football. We'll get to that later on in the show. The continent of Africa is getting ready for the 2025 ITTF Africa Cup in Tunis. The competition will spotlight rising stars as they take on the continent elite from February the 25th to the 27th. Nigeria's Matthew Kuti and Tunisia's Wassim Essid are among the young talents aiming to challenge top-ranked players. Essid is a key member of Tunisia's national team and is seeking to break the dominance of Egypt's Omar Sarr and Nigeria's Arnaud Quadri as well. And with home support, he's hoping to secure a spot at the ITTF World Cup. Kuti is a 4-time Nigerian national champion and has gained confidence from his performances at the African Championships and the African Games. Wale, is this the next iteration of Omar Sarr and Arnaud Quadri?
It might. And he'll be very intriguing to watch. Be very interesting to see because I've been tracking Wassim Essid as well. Lovely player. He was in Doha a couple of weeks ago at the under-17 competition, came second. I think he won the mixed singles. Mixed doubles, sorry. And is a very dangerous player. The word from Tunisia is that he is the guy that is going to put Tunisia in the limelight when it comes to table tennis. So we'll see what he brings to the table, but that's not the discount what Matthew Kuti is bringing. Kuti, I can say it anyway, is the hottest Nigerian player right now. In fact, I can stretch it by saying he's the best Nigerian player right now. I know he's young, very young, but this guy has won 4 of the last 5 major competitions in Nigeria.
And interestingly, last year he was name-checked by Omar Sarr.
Oh yeah,
saying that, look, this guy is the future of African table tennis. That if Nigeria has just 2 or 4 of Matthew Kuti's, that Egypt is in trouble.
Oh yeah, and last year he broke through at the African Games, you remember? And right now he's an integral member of the national team at that young age. I think that our coaches, Dr. Omoni and Dorola will be very much excited to work with this lad. And I mean, the incentive for Matthew is very huge. Get into the top 4 and make the World Cup in Macau. I mean, that's the biggest incentive that you need. Basically, after Omar Asara and our own Aaron Okodri, there is still a way you can sneak in. So I won't be surprised if Matthew Kuti really
top 4 players in each category.
Yeah, the top 4 players in each categories are off to the World Cup in Macau. But I'm happy that we already have someone for the near future, and that's Matthew Kuti. So excited.
Okay, we'll be watching that African Championships that kicks off, that pretty much serves off in Tunis on Monday next week. Nigeria will be well represented by a strong contingent as well, and hopefully Matthew Kuti can probably fulfill the immense promise that he has been showing over the last 2 years or so. Let's move on to some boxing now, and there's drama in African boxing. The West African Boxing Union President Remy Aboderi has refuted allegations of misconduct from the African Boxing Union and questioned the ABU's authority to suspend WABU's activities. The ABU, led by President Hussein Huichi from Tunisia, announced WABU's disbandment at a Lagos executive meeting earlier this month, citing accusations of blackmail, financial mismanagement, and exploitation of boxers and promoters. Those are his allegations. Aboderi, on his part, has dismissed the allegations, suggesting an attempt to destabilize WABU and criticize Huichi for trying to dissolve an independent body. Now, the case has been referred to the ABU's Ethics and Disciplinary Committee for further investigation. Favor, I have to bring you on this one. What is going on? What we say, they are an independent body. They are not a creation of the ABU. They are not an affiliate, that they have no powers to dissolve or suspend or basically interfere in their internal proceedings. They've made allegations that have so far proved unsubstantiated. And the president of the West African Boxing Union, Nigeria's own Remy Aboderi, who of course is the Secretary General of the Nigeria Boxing Board of Control, he's claiming that there's nothing they can do. I spoke to him earlier today, and he says until he sees a letter from Huichi before he responds to anything. But he's also mentioned there's been underground currents, people trying to destabilize WABU for nefarious reasons, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking good, and it's not the first time we've had this in boxing. If you look at the past, even in the world boxing, there's been a disarray of power, transitioning of power. The West African Boxing Union, we know that, yes, they've been doing things on their own in the past, but ABU is saying if you want to do anything, you have to come under the umbrella of the ABU to do your activities, and that's which, of course, the ABU is saying you can't stand on your own. But I would like to say, I'd like to liken it into what we had with European Super League. I mean, we saw how they came about. They wanted to have their independent league, and at the end of the day, was met with resistance from FIFA, from UEFA. I think for sports to thrive, we also need to understand that if some persons are not seeing the need to be under a particular body that wants to have their own, you should be able to. I mean, the Leaf Golf came about. We know how it all ended. I mean, they were not allowed to, stay on their own. Maybe the ABU is just looking at what WABU have been able to do, what they've been able to achieve within the last few years. We've seen lots of West African boxers come around, participate in different competitions. They feel like they should be able to reach out to them and say, we need your permission to be able to host event. But this is not the end of the crisis. I think that for Aboderi...
But people, I mean, look at the allegations. Blackmail, financial mismanagement, exploitation of boxers and promoters. These are weighty allegations.
Now, if WABU is saying ABU does not have the right to question them, why is ABU now saying this is what we want to do, we suspended you? I think
they've said they disbanded. They've completely disbanded.
This is not the end of the case, but I know for sure that it will take a world body to call them to order. But right now, WABU would not, they also want to continue with what they've been doing for the ABU. They also want to see what they can also do. But this is not good for our boxing. Don't forget, in Africa, going to the Olympics, we've had, we've not had the very best of, competition when it comes to boxing in Africa going into the Olympics. We've always had boxers go around, they finish the first round, second round, and they are back.
No, but these are actually professional boxers. They're not amateurs. Well, like those who compete in the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games. But I get what you're saying, Favor. It seems as if there might be more to this that meets the eye. We'll be keeping our eye on that particular story because we don't expect it to be swept under the carpet or blow over anytime soon. Chinasa, I have to come to you regarding this one. The 2025 FIBA Afro Basket qualifiers tips off tomorrow. Nigeria's men's national basketball team, the Tigers, they are facing a major task, a daunting task, some will say, in their quest to qualify for the AfroBasket, which will be hosted by Angola later this year. The team is shorn of many of their key players. No NBA stars, no key players, no star players. Just a roster of players that a lot of people do not know or cannot identify. Just 2 players from the Nigerian team as well. From the Nigeria Premier Basketball League. They'll be facing host Libya, Uganda, and Cape Verde Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, quick succession. But the coach of the team, Abdurrahman Mohammed, as well as the captain, Ike Wamu, have declared their confidence in the team's abilities ahead of tomorrow's game, saying they are ready, excited for the opportunity, and that they will make Nigeria proud. Nigeria are currently bottom of that Group B. As you can see, they lost all 3 games in their previous window to Cape Verde, Libya, and Uganda. They need to finish at least 3rd in the top 3 in order to stand a chance of qualifying, but it's not looking good.
Tunde, it's anytime we talk about Nigerian basketball, especially when it comes to the men, it always leaves me very sad because Tunde, come on, we know what's happening with the Basketball Federation. We know the dysfunction, and everything going on there. It's so sad that after we won the FIBA Africa, we believe that we were going to be on the up, things will start getting done properly and all that. But yeah, look at where we are now, look at the teams we're losing to. We went from African champions, finally dethroning Angola, being up there with the best in the world, to now losing to the so-called
Cape Verde, Uganda, Libya. We lost to Cape Verde, Uganda, and Libya.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it just shows you there shouldn't be any expectation, because I'll actually give kudos to whoever is coming to represent Nigeria, because like you said, many people don't know where these guys are from. They are big. It's like being dragged in from all around the world to come and play. You don't have your best players, the players that would have played for Nigeria. Why would they want to come play for Nigeria again after everything that they've been through and what the lack of organization from the federation the last couple of years, or even close to a decade has been. So yeah, I think at this point it's just on life support now. It's just coasting, and until we get the house in order when it comes to the Basketball Federation, we get a house in order. We're very talented in this sport. Whether the players that are based in Nigeria, the undiscovered ones, the ones that are outside Nigeria, the ones that are in Europe, America, all of them. You just saw the guys the Lakers tried to sign Mark Williams. He's Nigerian. His parents are Nigerian. He was born in America, and he plays for the Charlotte Hornets. So if we're really ready and serious to bring our basketball back to where it is, we know what we need to do. But for now, it's just like it's comatose, and there are no expectations. So it saddens me to talk. I really don't want to talking about it.
Yeah, I get that. But guys, very quickly, so no expectations from you, Favor. No expectations from you, Wale. You don't think this team can pull that chestnut out of the fire?
I mean, we know that water is wet already. So
what is that supposed to mean?
The situation with Nigerian basketball, we had some false dawns, especially at the Olympics with the ladies. We thought we could tap into that momentum.
But you don't think this team can make it?
No, they don't have it in them, and this is not shocking. We can chronicle where we are right now to the last 5, 6, 7 years, right? When our league itself has been on the state of comatose, and you like it or not. The way basketball is in our country, you have to rely much more on your local talent. Why? Because not every time will your NBA stars be available to you.
But there are those who will argue, Favor, that the very best of Nigeria's basketball talents cannot be found in Nigeria. That these are kids who were born and raised in probably in North America, United States particularly, who probably pick up a basketball by the age of 5. Are pretty adept at the game by the time they get to the NCAA level. That is where the future of Nigeria's basketball lies. Do you agree with that?
Well, if you want to talk about that now, I'd agree with you. But if you look at the last 5, 6 years, you remember that when Nigeria, played the local basketball tournament in Africa, there used to be a home-based team from Kano Pillars, from Mark Mentors, from Gombe Bulls. These particular players formed the core of the local-based players. At that time, we had games played in different centers, in Ilorin, Kwara Falcons, in Ole Warriors playing in Ibadan. We used to have games week in, week out up until when Tijani Umar and Musa Kida started their brouhaha, and then it went down. But if you talk about now, I don't think that you would want to pick a solid squad from the current crop of players. Don't forget, after a major tournament, the Nigerian Basketball Federation had their league, and we had River Supers win the tournament. Most of them have gone back to whatever they were doing. Some of them are doing their businesses and waiting for BAG to come. That's for River Supers. While for other players, they're just looking forward to the next season. And you can't play professional basketball, having to go out of it for a month or 2 months or even 6 months and come back to play the very best. So I think for the NBBF, maybe they need to do what they did for the Tigers, which was, of course, getting a coach like Rena Wakama in the US, who was able to convince the girls to see reasons why they need to come play for Nigeria again. But if we want to talk about the Tigers at the moment, I think the morale is very, very low.
So you're ruling them out of even qualifying for the AfroBasket?
It's just going to be appearance.
Wow. These people are not even giving us any kind of hope at all.
Yeah, so look at what Morocco did with football. Getting their players from all around, embracing the foreign-born players, and look at how they got to the semi-finals of the World Cup. So we know that the best Nigerian players when it comes to basketball are not in Nigeria. Yes, you might have you might have a few that you haven't discovered yet, but the world, like there are lots of Nigerians in America, there are lots of Nigerians in Europe, and many of these people play basketball. Many of these guys play basketball. So yeah, if you need to, if you're serious, but at the end of the day, why would they even want to come play for Nigeria? If you look at their predecessors, that's somebody like a Chimize Metu, and Diogo and the rest.
What about patriotism? What about national pride? That doesn't come into it.
So they were born in America.
So they have no patriotism.
And we saw what happened to them before this last Olympics, where their qualification was taken away from them. Was it for the FIBA tournament or whatever? Some time ago. So yeah, you can only do so much.
Okay,
if
they are not helping you, what are you going to do about it?
We have to move on very quickly.
Yeah, just before you move on, I just wanted to just wrap up by saying that, I think we need to be very careful and find a balance. In as much as I agree that our best players are abroad, just like in football, that our best players play the trade abroad, we need to find a balance, because if you fixate too much on those players, you tend to neglect. And already what is happening here is dead. We need to resurrect it.
I totally agree. But I hear you guys. I'm just hoping that the people who matter, the people who run the sport, I beg your pardon, because you guys all matter as well. The people who run the sports are also listening as well. Let's quickly wrap up this segment by giving you some news from across the world as well. In the world of tennis, former world number 1 Venus Williams will make her 2025 season debut at Indian Wells, which starts on the 2nd of March after accepting a wildcard entry. The 7-time Grand Slam champion returns to the prestigious event for the 10th time, having previously reached the semi-finals in 1998, 2001 and 2018. While her sister Serena has retired, Venus says she has no plans to step away from the sport just yet. Of course, the Williams sisters boycotted Indian Wells for 15 years due to racial abuse in 2001, but Venus ended that boycott in 2016. Still talking tennis now, in the Dubai Tennis Championships, world number 2 Iga Swiatek has suffered a shock exit from the Dubai Tennis Championships, falling 6-3, 6-3 to 17-year-old Mira Andreeva in the quarterfinals. The Russian teenager made history as the youngest player to reach the tournament's semifinals. Despite trailing 3-1 in the second set, Andreeva stormed back to win 5 consecutive games, sealing victory over the 5-time Grand Slam champion in just 96 minutes, and she will be moving on to the semi-final. And her win adds to a growing reputation. She's also defeated world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka at the 2023 French Open. She's also now the youngest player since 2007 to secure 5 wins over top 10 opponents. And finally, to Formula 1, Ferrari conducted the first on-track test of their 2025 Formula 1 car, the SF25 at Fiorano, marking the beginning of a new chapter for the team. The test followed the car's official livery reveal at the F1 season launch in London. Charles Leclerc was the first to drive the newly designed machine, with 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton taking over in the afternoon. Excuse me. Well, you're still watching that Game On here. You will take a short break. When we return, we'll be talking football. Thank you for staying tuned. You're still watching Game On here on News Central. I still have the gentlemen with me, Samuel Eto'o, Wale Adigun, and of course, the one and only Chinasa Ibonya, all the way from Los Angeles. Gentlemen, let's talk about football now here in Nigeria. And it was a momentous day in the race for the 2024-2025 NPFL season. League leaders Remo Stars, well, they were in good form today. They defeated Kuala United 2-0 in a match played in Ikene this evening to go 10 points clear at the top of the Nigeria Premier Football League with 13 matches to go. Striker Arinze Anakwe opened the scoring in the 79th minute of the 10th encounter after the opposition goalkeeper spilled a free kick from Unduka Junior. Midfielder Hadi Haruna sealed the win in the 94th minute, poking the ball into the net after the goalkeeper spilled another shot. Elsewhere, Katsina United secured a really good 2-1 win over Eyimba in that game played at the Muhammadu Diko Stadium in Katsina. I think it was Ekene Awazie who grabbed a late consolation for Eyimba in the 92nd minute from the penalty spot after Ademola Lookman had actually scored a brace. So that's how it ended in 2 games played today in the NPFL. Remo Stars winning their game by 2-0 against Kwara United, while Eyimba fell by 2-1 to Katsina United. Let's show you the top 6 in the Nigeria Professional Football League right now as it currently stands. It is Remo Stars. They are running away with this one, 10 points clear of Shooting Stars with 13 matches to go. Rivers United in the mix as well. Abia Warriors also in that mix. Ikorodu City and Enugu Rangers just top out the top 6. Gentlemen, don't forget, the top 2 teams will play in the CAF Champions League next season. The 3rd place team will play in the CAF Confederation Cup. Is it safe to say now, Favor, that it is now basically a fight between Shooting Stars and Rivers United for that 2nd Champions League slot?
Well, I would not say so because, of course, we've seen how Rivers United can be. They're not consistent in terms of their results. Shooting Stars, at the point in time, they were consistent, but the last 2 games did not go down well for them. There's also Abia Warriors.
They lost 3 consecutive games now, Shooting Stars.
Shooting Stars, yeah, they're winless in, I think...
Well, yeah, they lost 2 and they drew 1 yesterday, yeah. So they're winless in 3, yeah.
In 3 games. And then you look at Abia Warriors. Imam Amakapabo is doing well with the team. They've been able to grind out results. They were able to defeat Enugu Rangers 1-0. I think Abia Warriors, Rivers United, Shooting Stars will battle it for the 2nd spot. It determines on how well they are able to pick points away from home. And not just about that, also at home, we saw Shooting Stars draw points against relegated Trenton Lobby Stars. So it's going to be a fight to finish. But that, again, would also mean that Rebel Stars will just, keep doing what they've been able to do, where they can also get away points. They get the away points and make sure they get maximum points at home. They've been the most disciplined side so far this season in terms of how well they prepare themselves for game, how well they
travel,
cut their times and everything. And they have basically every position has another player that can also do better than whoever is starting for Rebel Stars, and that is very, very good. They've had a 5-year plan to achieve this, which of course from NNL to the NPFL, they finished 3rd at some point, got to the continent, then they finished 2nd back-to-back, and now they're on the verge of winning the league. Yes, 30 matches to go, 39 points, all to grab.
Wale, are you giving this to Remo Stars yet? They've finished runners-up twice, but this will be a momentous achievement if they can win the NPFL. But are you giving it to them yet?
If they don't win the league, then the Honorable Gulation should disband the side. It's as simple as that.
No, anyway, that's a bit too harsh.
No, it's not harsh. If you don't win the league,
no.
If you don't win the league with a 10-point buffer,
okay.
Then
is that what you're saying? With a 10-point buffer?
It's a 10-point buffer.
Okay.
And the good thing for them is that the chasing pack are out of sorts. Like you said, shooting winless in 3. Rivers have lost their marbles. Abia was at the upcoming force, but it's too little too late for them on their Amakpakabo. I think a top 2 finish is very, very, very feasible for them. There's Ikorodu City lurking around as well. Rangers also have lost form as well. So right now, I can easily call them champions select. You know, when you go through a league season and you make champions, you're expected to have stumbles here and there. Remo Stars have had none. And I expect them to just coast to the title from now. But also, there's a tendency that laxity could really come in. Hey, we've got a 10-point advantage.
In charge? He's a very intense manager.
I'm just saying that the manager now has to tell these players, we haven't even won this league yet. We haven't. Even till the final day of the season, keep them really honest. But I think that right now, this is Remo Stars' title to lose.
Okay.
And once again, if they don't win this title, they don't have any business playing football.
God, Wale always with the harsh takes. But Chinas, I have to ask you this one. How good will it be for Nigerian football if a private team, a privately owned team, wins the NPFL at the expense of the multitude of government-owned teams in this league? Because there are only two privately owned teams in this MPFL, if I'm not mistaken, Ikorodu City and Remo Stars. 18 others are owned by the government with the deep pockets of the government. What would it mean for Nigerian football if Remo Stars wins this league?
Oh, it will be huge, you know. It will be huge, and you guys have also said, it's not like they just came out this season and are they just started doing this season. They've been close, you know, the last couple of seasons, and they've been showing that we are properly run, everything, we're really organized, and so it will be a huge thing if a privately owned a football team wins the league in Nigeria, and maybe, just maybe, you know, it might also attract more private ownership into the league if it will be allowed, because we see what it is with the government teams that are being sponsored, and how it's not really the clubs are not really being run like they're not run like businesses, you know, because it's like you know how the civil service is in Nigeria, so and that's basically it translates into how the clubs are run. But if the privately owned teams begin to make splashes, you know, start winning titles and all that, I believe, like I said, maybe it might just bring an incursion of other
private owners and investors
who will be interested to be like, you know what, let's do this, and that's where we want to go. That's where we want to get with our league. We want more of privately owned teams. We want teams run professionally. We want teams run like a business. You know, with that, and because it's at the end of the day, it's only going to help our football get better. So yeah, I think it would be a huge thing for Remo Stars to go ahead and win this league.
But we have to name check Ikorodu City favor, a team that nobody gave any hope. Everybody expected to be relegated after their first season. Everybody expected to struggle. They initially did struggle, but they found their form, and they are in the upper echelons of the NPFL. Could they surprise people and probably break into that top three?
Yes, possible. There's currently no pressures for Ikorodu City. They started the season without thinking of winning the league or finishing amongst the first five. They just want to remain in the league. I think that also helped them to, you know, put their houses in order. And don't forget the crop of the players, average of 20, 21, 22 young players who are hungry, who want to get, you know, first team experience. And I think also that the scouting team of Ikorodu City, they have a white tactician also amongst the midst. Also don't forget the coach Awero, who also have Nuruddin, who have also identified players on time. They're not really going you know, above their budget to identify big stars. They just want to go for players, young players that are not known, that they want to redefine or defy the players. And we are seeing them right now. They have quality players in their defense, quality players in their midfield. Their captain also, Waliu, is also doing well for Ikorodu City. I think for Ikorodu City, they've shown that they can actually, you know, come out, make plans on ground, and they'll psych themselves off and do a lot of it. Don't forget their fixtures are really, really tight right now. They play the FA Cup in Lagos. They travel from Nasarawa to, you know, these are young boys who are getting the first time experience of these long trips, and they've been able to, you know, let me say this word out,
ride out the storm.
They ride out the storm and then of course go all the way. So this is commendable, but I don't think they should need to put it in their head right now. They should just take it a game at a time. Wherever they can get points. Maybe they could just finish amongst the top four.
Maybe. But let's show you the bottom of the table. There's teams that are struggling to escape the gravitational pull of relegation. Lobby Stars in that mix as well, rock bottom, but surprised everyone yesterday with a creditable 2-2 draw away at title chasing Shooting Stars last night. Kwara United, in fact, they were actually leading that game at one point by 2-1.
And that's after they sacked their manager.
Yeah, that's after they sacked the manager. Samuel Eto'o, former BCC Lions Ogboko goalkeeper, is the new manager now. Akwa United in that mix as well, 2021 champions. Nasarawa United, former FA Cup finalists in that mix as well. Sunshine Stars, former CAF Champions League campaigners, semi-finalists, I believe, they're in that mix as well. Bayelsa United and Plateau United just outside that bottom four. Let's also look at the top scorers in the Nigeria Professional Football League. There's been a slight change in the top six, but it's still Anas Yusuf leading the way with 13 goals, Rabiu Ali with 9, Shola Adelani of Ikorodu City with 7, Sunday Mego of Abia Warriors with 7, Ibrahim Mustafa of El Kadema Warriors also with 7 as well. Guys, let's move on and still talk about the Nigeria Professional Football, Nigeria Premier Football League. The football authorities in this country have suspended referees Ridwan Ayeni and Abubakar Jimoh over poor officiating in the NPFL match between Kwara United and Bayelsa United on the 15th of February 2025. In a letter issued by the NFF Refereeing Development Unit, the officials were accused of making decisions that adversely affected the game, including ignoring a clear penalty incident. There you go. The assistant referee was also faulted for failing to assist in the situation. The NFF stated that their actions brought the game into disrepute, leading to an indefinite suspension from officiating NPFL matches. So it's good to see that the authorities are moving quickly, but for something that happened on the 15th, action is being taken, 5 or 6 days later. I think the speed is commendable, but a lot of people like this to move a bit more faster. Still speaking about Nigerian football, the Nigerian Football Federation has confirmed or reaffirmed that all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory must hold their 2025 President Federation Cup finals on either Saturday, the 22nd of February, or Sunday, the 23rd of February. In a statement to Football Association Secretaries, NFF's Director of Competitions, Ruth David, emphasized that matches must be completed on these dates unless special approval is granted. Guys, what could probably result in special approval? Maybe the stadium is being used by the government, possibly? Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's about that per se. Don't forget, some states right now, they are currently in the round of 16. Some states have not even gotten to the quarterfinal stage.
Wow.
And you're trying to tell them.
This is Thursday.
This is Thursday, and most these teams are playing in the NNL and the NPFL. Don't forget, we had the game today. That's talking about the Nigerian Premier Football League. And you're saying these same players will probably play this weekend again, and then they'll have to travel for their games next week. So the NFF also needs to sit down with the clubs. It's one thing to say you want this to happen. If it doesn't happen, this will happen. But they should also consider the itinerary of these clubs and the league.
So it's just bad planning on the part of
bad planning. I mean, we should be having the FA Cup as early as September last year. Not even about, February. We're talking about the FA Cup, trying to force them to finish on time when you know that the condition of Nigeria is different from what we have in Europe. I mean, majority of clubs travel by road, travel as far from Lagos to Maiduguri. These same players will now maybe come back to play at home and do another 12-hour trip, and you're expecting the same players to be deputized to playing matches. For instance, Ikorodu City played last week. They played on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, the FA Cup in Lagos, and they played midweek. That means they will also look forward to play either tomorrow or this weekend. They play today.
The FA Cup.
You can see how much it is on this club side. Yes, you say sign 30 players, sign 40 players, but the question is, it's wanting to sign these players, so that to also be able to manage the resources, because monies cannot be flying left, right, center. That's why Raymond Stars put out from the
yeah, interesting.
But I can tell you that in some states, there's also a case of no money to prosecute the FA Cup.
True.
Yeah. Some states were waiting until maybe like last week to get money from the sports commissions for them to be able to prosecute, FA Cup games. And you cannot blame them. The FAs can only prosecute FA Cup games if there is money.
Money for what exactly?
Oh, money for referees, money for logistics, money for everything you need, medical.
They're not paying for the stadium. They're not paying for the facilities.
Service, like I said.
But you can't go and prosecute every cup without anything in your coffers.
So it's money.
That's the truth.
But the clubs buy form. I mean, they actually pay for
that goes to the federation. It goes to the Football Federation.
It goes to the state.
Not to the state. It goes to the federation. So these FAs need monies to come in so they can prosecute. Some are using one match center. Some use 2 match centers. Wow. There was a match center in Delta State they probably played on sand or probably on a clay pitch. So then there's also a case of the fact that we know those who get to the finals. It's always the big sides always get to the finals.
So some teams just
some don't even play the finals because they say, what, the top 2 make it to the national competition, right? Let's just end it there and submit the 2 teams and over to the NFF. So there are a lot of factors be there, and trust me, this is one of Nigeria's oldest cup competitions, and the NFF, in fact, like my friend Nodi Ogota, senior colleague, will say, the first child of the NFF is the FA Cup.
I agree.
You need to take care of it, and in years past, it has been neglected, and this used to be a very glamorous competition. True. At least in my short lifespan, I've seen the glory of this FA Cup. I've seen finals when helicopters would
land right in the middle of the pitch
to bring in the trophy. This is a glamorous competition, and it has just
It's something else. It's a shame now. Let's move on, guys. Talk some continental football. Cameroon football legend Samuel Eto'o has successfully overturned sanctions imposed by the Confederation of African Football, paving the way for his potential candidacy on a seat on the CAF Executive Committee. Eto'o, who is currently president of the Cameroon Football Federation, had been fined $200,000 and sanctioned over alleged ethical breaches, which many believed led to his disqualification from CAF's March elections. He's not standing for presidency, don't get that wrong. He's standing for a place on the CAF Executive Committee, but we hear that the Appeals Board has ruled that its disciplinary committee, its disciplinary board, that's CAF's disciplinary board, lacks jurisdiction as such matters fall under an independent and ethics committee. The question is, everybody's looking forward to is if Samuel Eto'o makes it to the CAF Executive Committee, will he acquiesce? Will he join in the train, or will he be that force for change that a lot of people would like to see on the African continent? But still talking about CAF, the quarterfinals, the knockout stage draws for the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup were finalized in Doha, Qatar today, setting up exciting clashes across both competitions. In the CAF Champions League, here are the fixtures. It is holders Al Ahly of Egypt. They will take on Sudan's Al Hilal. Pyramid will face Morocco's Asfar. Then there's also a highly anticipated showdown as South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns will go up against Tunisia's Esperance of Tunisia. Both of them are big teams as well. There's MC Alger in that mix as well. They will take on Orlando Pirates. Unsurprisingly, Chinasa, it's North African teams dominating this again. Same thing in the CAF CAF Confederations Cup as well. Let's show you those fixtures. Morocco's RSB Berkane, they're in that mix as well. They take on ASEC Mimosa, Falling Giants. Stellenbosch, who are newcomers on the African continent, they will entertain defending champions Zamalek. CS Constantine of Algeria will take on USM Alger in an all-Algerian derby. Then Al-Masri of Egypt will also battle Simba. Gentlemen, it is North African countries everywhere. It is safe to say, Chinasa, that football in Africa at club or domestic level belongs to the North Africans.
Yeah, of course. It's nothing new. We've known this for a very long time. They're very professional when it comes to running football in these countries. We've seen it. It's not today. It started right from the 80s, 90s now, and it just shows the consistency of, you know, when you do something right and you keep doing it right, you will keep getting results. And now we'll see South Africa also into the mix. We saw the gradual steps how it started after the whole apartheid thing and South Africa getting back into the international football scene. Gradually, and now they're also mainstays, you know, when it comes to continental football. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. You run a proper league. Every organization is sound. You run football professionally in your country. It's only going to take a matter of time before you start seeing the dividends. And yeah, like South Africa is the example. As we've seen them, they are now rubbing shoulders. You know, regularly. Even
Tanzania, we're seeing young Africans in the final last season. We're even seeing Simba in the quarterfinals this season.
The Tanzania League too.
Botswana clubs, seeing Mauritania Galaxy. Oh my God. The honest truth, there's still a lot of work to be done in Nigeria football. That's all I can say, because I'm sure you guys can know that I'm bringing all this back to Nigeria. But we're hard pressed for time, guys. Let's move on. After speaking about the CAF Champions League, let's talk about the UEFA Champions League, because the playoff phase of that competition was concluded yesterday. So we now know the 16 teams that are through to the next stage. What that means is that Friday's draw will decide the seeded teams, the ones that will be basically, yes, exactly. There it is. Brest were hammered 10-0 on aggregate by PSG. Club Brugge, of course, defeated Atalanta 5-2. Manchester City went out to Real Madrid by 6-3. Juventus also lost to PSV Eindhoven 4-3. Feyenoord overcame AC Milan 2-1 on aggregate. Bayern Munich just about edged Celtic 3-2. Sporting Lisbon also went out by 3-0 on aggregate to Borussia Dortmund, while Monaco were edged out by Benfica by 4-1. Now, what this means, gentlemen, is that Benfica going to the mix. They will face either Liverpool or Barcelona. Dortmund going to the mix. They will face either Lille or Aston Villa. Bayern Munich going to the mix. They will face either Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen. Feyenoord will face either Arsenal or Internazionale Milan. Then Arsenal as well will also face Inter Milan will face PSV Eindhoven. Real Madrid will face either Atletico or Leverkusen. That would be great to see a Madrid derby. Lille will also face either Aston Villa or Club Brugge, but Liverpool will also battle Barcelona I beg your pardon, PSG will face either Barcelona or Liverpool. But your thoughts on this season's UEFA Champions League so far, Wale?
Yep, I think that that humans always resistant to change. But this change, we finally loved it. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we loved the league phase. We didn't like it at the beginning, but when it started getting to the crucial stages, we realized that every game was not over.
Okay.
I mean, especially with Real Madrid and Manchester City on the brink, Bayern Munich as well. And we went into the knockout phase, or the playoff phase.
So very quickly, Wale, I beg your pardon, Favor, Chinasa, you guys, what you think? Do you like this phase?
For me, I did not. Okay. All right, I'll go.
Favor, go, you go first.
For me, the face, I do not like the face. I mean, the attention span is not there. I mean, maybe round of 16, they might have to get me to, monitor the games, because there were a series of games being played, and the adrenaline rush towards looking forward to a particular game is not really there. I mean, having to see Man City go the knockout phase, when we know that, okay, if it was probably the group stage, you probably would have gotten to the round of 16 and go up the way, but well, they want more money, they want more.
Obviously, it's clear you didn't like that.
The problem I have with this right now is it's there's another draw again. It's unnecessary. I think you should have just known after the league phase and the playoff phase. You should have just known who you're going to. If you win, you're going to face this person. I just think it's another unnecessary draw. It's another unnecessary time that'll be wasted. Unnecessary draw. Like, come on, we don't need this.
The whole essence of this format is to bring in more games.
They did their own draw.
Television.
They did their own draw in Europe. Your Africa went to go and do their own Champions League and CAF Confederation Club draw in Doha, in Asia.
I didn't want to talk about that.
I'm just saying. So leave UEFA alone. But guys, let's move on very quickly. We're hard pressed for time. This has to be our final story. A Spanish court has convicted former football chief Luis Rubiales of sexual assault for forcibly kissing star player Jenny Hermoso after Spain's 2023 Women's World Cup victory. He was fined $11,300 but acquitted of coercion charges. The incident, which occurred during the medal ceremony, sparked global outrage and calls for his resignation. Prosecutors had sought a prison sentence, but Rubiales insisted that the case was spontaneously, in quote, and claimed Hermoso had consented. However, Hermoso denied this, stating that it stained one of the happiest days of her life. And the scandal fueled a move for gender equality in Spanish football. Rubiales resigned in September of 2023 after weeks of pressure, a FIFA suspension, and legal investigation as well. We also heard that the court also ruled that he must stay 200 yards away from Hermoso at all times for the next 1 year, must have no contact with her. Well, there are matches also being played in the UEFA Europa League as we speak, and also in the Conference League. Lots of games, you can't go through them all. But any outstanding game that you follow in Favor?
At the moment, no, but of course, we know that we have the Europa League playoffs ongoing. Some of them are finished. For Victor Osimhen, he will not be into the next round after a 2-2 draw against AZ Alkmaar in that particular one.
Oh, wow. So it's that's the end of the road for Galatasaray. They will not be progressing into the knockout phase of the UEFA Europa League. That's all we have for you tonight on the show. Many thanks for coming through. Wale Adegun, Favor Eto'o, and Chinasa Boye. Always a pleasure to see you guys. But before we go, let's just tell you that football transfers can often come with surprising twists. But this one was truly bizarre. In the January transfer window, former Rangers and Fenerbahce winger Ryan Kent was reportedly set to join Iranian club Persepolis, but the strangest part in all this was his decision was allegedly influenced by Iran's lenient laws on exotic pet ownership, particularly crocodiles. Kent, who has a pet crocodile during his time in Turkey, even made headlines when he was offering a hefty salary for someone to care for the beast. And reports suggest that the move to Iran was appealing because it was legal to keep crocodiles in that country. Ultimately, the move didn't go through, so Ryan Kent and his crocodile are currently chilling at home, but who knows, they might move to Saudi Arabia sometime soon. That's our show tonight. Many thanks for coming through. The show makes a return tomorrow night. My name is Babatunde Kweki.